Oh, hello, and welcome to Al Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Dr. Leviathan.
And I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories most creepy and most pasta. Tonight we have This World. So for those of you just tuning in, creepypastas are short internet stories that get copied and pasted across the internet. They're usually kind of scary. And they're posted on, like, Wikipedia, or on the wiki pages, Creepypasta.com, Reddit No Sleep. Go Google it. So we're doing This World, which was on Creepypasta.wiki, and it's by Cdaley, Cdaley.
I do see Cdaley.
Yeah. There's several readings of it on YouTube. The one I checked out was D-Dust, so go check that out. I'll leave a link in the description below. So we'll just dive into this one. So it starts us in media res. Our narrator is trapped in a house where things are trying to bash down the door and kill them. There's no further escape, and so they come to accept their fate. It cuts back 3 days when they first arrived in the house, searching for food and shelter from them. They find a family of them in the house, but are able to kill them. And after which, even while grievously injured from the fight, they get to work barricading the house and dividing up the food they find. On the second day, they live. No, on the second day, they are spotted by them while trying to cover up the windows on the second floor, and thus the entrapment began. Surrounded overnight, they begin to hear painful wailings from them outside. That doesn't help with their sleeping. Back on the third day, or we cut back to the third day at this point, they begin bashing down at the door, finally, and are about to bring it down, when the door finally breaks open, and they flood in, wielding strange black objects in their hands. The narrator, stands defiant against them, to the last. Now we cut to the side of them, who are a government team coming in to stop this thing. Whatever it is, some kind of infected or zombie or mutant or
Well, it explains that it's an infection and that it stays in the air for 2 days or something.
That's why they were... Yeah, it was an infection that stayed for 2 days, and that's why they didn't go in immediately. And so... after killing it, they discover it killed the Holmes family and separated the parts into different meals, like a pile of brains, a pile of guts, kind of thing.
Body parts.
Yeah.
Probably didn't scoop out brains.
Well, no, just say like a bunch of brains in one pile, a bunch of guts in the other, and then other body parts.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Dumb.
Yeah.
Yep, guts in one pile, brain. Damn.
Apparently...
glossed over that when I read it.
Yeah. It is kind of superfluous. Apparently, there is a growing threat of some infection or epidemic that will ultimately take out humanity and replace them with these things. The end. So that's the story. My thoughts for it, I'm reminded of similar stories that are told in, like, The Outer Limits or The Twilight Zone, like that kind of sci-fi story of, like, difference in perception, like you think your narrator is like a human person, like that's trying to escape monsters, and then they do the bait and switch where you're actually through the eyes of the monster the whole time, and kind of that sci-fi trope, that old sci-fi story trope where, like, at the end it's just like the world's inevitably doomed because it's being taken over by some invasion or infection. Yeah. I liked the altered perception, except there are some very glaring continuity issues with it during the story, or that just caused some confusion.
Continuity issues, just giveaways.
Yeah, giveaway. Yeah, some really specific giveaways. There's a lot of shorts. So like the other thing that got me in the story was that there's a lot of super short sentences and use of periods, but I'm not sure if that's bad, since it does emulate a paranoid, like, disjointed and hurried thought process, like with this character. So I don't like it kept like happening, like they kept like just putting periods at like very short sentences that could have been just commas or whatever. But again, it is kind of a disjointed, frantic character. So,
which do you want, short sentences or run-on sentences?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not sure if it was bad or not because
the periods are well placed.
Okay.
They should be periods. Commas would be...
would elongate them too much?
Yeah. Well, no. It's... Okay. A paragraph is about a subject.
Yeah.
A sentence within that paragraph is a thought.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so...
These short thoughts are complete.
Gotcha.
They may not be perfect, but again, it gets that sense of paranoia, that sense of urgency, that sense of I'm trying to survive in a world that I can't survive in.
Yeah. Okay. Well, like I said, like from a grammar side, I saw that, and then from a like reader point of view, like the character. Yeah. All right. So it does make sense. All right. Yeah, this character breaks its arm in 2 places and has a really nasty head wound because during the fight with the family of them or people. Yet keeps going, and it's not till we discover that it's not human, but still, it's a really big tip-off because it doesn't, like, it knows that it has a broken arm in 2 places, but it doesn't stop to heal itself after the fight. All it does is focus on, like, barricading this house, which, I mean, yeah, sure, you're trying to barricade a house and fortify it.
Uses the term heal itself.
Yeah.
That's just, like, that's...
Bandage up.
Humans don't heal themselves. Humans heal over time.
Yeah.
Humans take care of their problems. They see to their injuries.
Yeah.
That's not healing. That's aiding the healing. Like...
It's mending. You're like,
huge difference.
Yeah.
No, your body will mend it.
Okay, yeah.
Your butt thing, because that's just
But we set it up so that it can do that.
Yes.
But yeah, what this thing does is just like instantly goes to barricade in the house, which I can get kind of like if you're in a hurry and stuff like that. Although he was able to move a couch over to this door.
If your arm is broken,
you worry about that first.
That's your priority.
Yeah.
In a survival situation, there's just. Because you can't do anything until you take care of it. Especially when you find out that the fucking bone is sticking out.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, again, like, it was... For me, when I first read it, I was like, okay, I can buy the fact that like he had to they had to barricade the house. I can't buy that you're not taking care of this wound after you've like divvied out the food. Like you'd be working on that for like at the very least secondary to barricading the house from more of these creatures or whatever they were to him. And then like later on when we get to see that the bones are broken in 2 places, like jutting out. Also, he moved a couch to the door. Like no,
I can move a couch without my.
All right. That's what got me, though.
It's not hard to move a couch.
All right. Well, for me, that's what got me as well, because it just seemed like heavy objects. Trying to move them with one arm would have been more of a chore than what they just kind of shrug off. Yeah, so just some big tip-offs because of that, and to keep going for 3 days with not addressing a head wound and sleeping and yeah. Yeah, I like the way the thing is, like, the way they go about at the end, giving us, like, oh, like, we're not sure what this thing is. Like, obviously my mind instantly went to zombie, or some kind of infected like a zombie, like the rage virus maybe. Something that alters the human, like, perception that makes them look more aggressive and stuff. But, I mean, it kind of also lends itself, you could go other ways. Like, it could be an alien infection or an alien invasion via, like, the pod people or, like, spores. Or it could be, like, some kind of mutant uprising kind of thing. It leaves it to the audience and the reader to kind of let in, like, figure out their own thing. Like, there's some obvious, like, hints as to what maybe it is, or for your mind to go, like, to the obvious, but there are some, like, there's a chance to, like, use your imagination, which I liked about the story. And, yeah, the other thing I had in my notes is, the story feels like it was written to give the reader that bait-and-switch duality, like, the perception of, like, you're actually reading through the eyes of a monster, which we already covered. And well, this also felt like at the beginning it kind of went for me, it felt like a zombie survival threat thing. And then by the end, like, again, it was written like that kind of like invasion sci-fi story where, like, the world is inevitably going to be taken over by some outer force. Just the way it was written. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it's just kind of how I got it. Again, very Twilight Zone, very Outer Limitsy. And yeah, that's that's really kind of my notes on this one. So, Mikey, E stands for you. In the nitpick nook.
Yes. The first nitpick is at one point he says, like moths to a light bulb.
Yeah.
When the idiom is like moths to a flame.
Yep. Yeah, I read that a couple of times, and it's still the same, like, analogy, but it's like, it's a little bit more modern, but yeah, like, my mind instantly goes to the flame one rather than the light bulb, and it kind of just seems...
First things first, there's nothing wrong with updating an idiom. My personal favorite, because I did it, was, ruled with a stainless steel fist. Yeah, an iron fist, that's the idiom, but a stainless steel fist updates it, modernizes it, makes it your own. And this could have done that, but there's no reason for it to not be a flame.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not the advent of technology that has done anything, so that's what the...
Yeah.
So, I agree with you, but disagree with your blanket premise.
Of why you consider it a nitpick.
Yeah. 3 days was mentioned, in my opinion, too many times.
Yeah.
Like, the first time it's introduced, he mentions it 3 times, sort of in a row. And then later on, he mentions it twice in 2 sentences. And it's like, we already know
these 3 days. I didn't put it in my notes.
This story isn't very long. We didn't forget.
Yeah. I didn't put it in my notes, but yeah, I do remember, like, reading the verse part of it where, like, oh yeah, I'm stuck. Like, the creatures are batting down the door and stuff. And then it cuts to his, like, flashbacks of, like, the last 3 days. And then it cuts back to it, and it's, like, almost repeats the same scenario. It's like, yeah, we didn't forget. Like, it's only a couple of pages long, this whole story, so that, I can agree with that. Nitpick.
Yeah. And then, sort of what's already been touched on is that he gives away that it's a monster way too soon. Like, a reader can figure out
the family thing kind of gave it away.
The fact that he specified it was a family.
Yeah, like, and not just for with 2 small ones, or... Yeah, like once you say it's a family, like, it's like, yeah, you're probably not the nice guy.
Now, I have to disagree on that, because if he'd have been like, if it was 1 or 2 big ones, 2 smaller ones, I'd have been like, you're trying to hide the fact that it's family. However, by calling it a family...
They acknowledge
it? At that time, I was like, okay, so it's a zombie outbreak. Yeah. And they got turned, like, they turned in their home as a family.
Yeah, okay.
I get it.
Yeah.
Whereas,
and he never actually, like...
Whereas if he'd have been, like, 2 big ones and 2 small, it'd been like, okay, mom, dad, 2 kids.
Yeah.
You hid nothing from.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, I was like, okay, it's a family that's been turned. My thoughts.
Yeah.
I don't want to say yours are idiotic.
Well, it's just the concept of figuring it out before the reveal. Like, and really early before the reveal. Like, there's still half of that section to go before the reveal.
Yeah.
I got to it, and it's just...
I will say, though,
what I'm saying is, what didn't work for you did work for me.
Yeah. I will also say that the way he describes, like, the upstairs, like, they must just stand there in place, like, until they hear something and they come after you. Like, I liked that. Like, that kind of, like, tries to make it a little bit seem like they're a little bit more monstrous on his perspective. Yeah. Like, again, or alienated from him.
And again, feed that zombie vibe that you've got going on.
Yeah.
And then, his description at the beginning, which made me think zombies, like, he has the person out on the sidewalk that just starts screaming, and I'm just envisioning some guy just standing there screaming, ah! Like, he's not running away or anything.
I'm not gonna lie, I instantly thought of, like, the body snatchers thing, like, just screaming like that.
I envisioned the Futurama robot parody
of Kiefer Sutherland doing that.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Because that's my personal favorite.
Actually, I guess it's not Kiefer Sutherland, but yeah, it's one of the Sutherlands that does that part. But yeah, Sutherland, like, I think Kiefer Sutherland's dad is in that movie.
You mean Donald?
Donald Sutherland. Wow, I couldn't remember it.
Better Sutherland.
Yeah, really, the better one. Yeah, Donald Sutherland as that character in Body Snatchers. Like,
honestly, I don't think I've seen that.
I've only seen that clip. So, to be honest,
we're experts, people.
Ding. There it is again. All right, continue. Sorry.
And that's pretty much all I really have to point out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not much.
All right, Doctor.
Honestly, I don't much that we haven't already covered. Like, other than the fact that it thinks it's smarter than it is, because it thinks it's hiding the fact that it's a monster, but that the first 2/3 are from the perspective of one of the monsters. But yeah, the hints are there, and I don't know if they're intentional or not.
I want to think that they might be intentional, but that's my better judgment kicking in.
Well, let's not say better, but nice judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, decently written story. It did what it's going to do. Like,
yeah,
you know, if I could get into the guy who wrote this, or gal, if I could get into their head and see their mission statement from when they started, yeah, check. They did it all. Yeah, there's nothing
offensive about it.
Not to me.
All right, so I guess we boiled down to our recommendations on this one. Honestly, I would recommend it because, I mean, first off, it really shouldn't be like a qualifier, but it's a short story. It's out of the way pretty quickly, and it is a very it has that kind of cool vibe of the Twilight Zone, like having the like yeah, it's clearly a monster that you're through the eyes of. And then they just outright reveal it, and then they give you that like ending where it's just kind of like not a cliffhanger, but like there's a bigger like it's gonna happen, something like bigger and more inevitable is gonna happen to the Earth, and then it leaves you there with that little bait and switch revelation.
Actually, I could have completely.
All right,
I could have done with it just being like a description of the epidemic that's going on. You don't have to say that
that we're going to lose this world to them.
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know, I liked it personally, but and yeah, like the story. There's some really the hints of that this thing is a monster are kind of glaring, but they were fun. The story ultimately was an enjoyable read for me, so yeah, I'll recommend it. Mikey?
Well, this is going to be posted in the new year, so I'm already going for Creepypasta of the year.
Really?
Well, just it's an enjoyable read. While it was kind of creepy, it wasn't shockingly creepy.
Yeah.
The gore didn't actually really come into it until the end when they explained the piles of guts.
To be honest, that was kind of silly, because I literally just pictured like brains like cracked open, like just in a pile, and it was just kind of like, that's a little silly. Yeah. But
it was an enjoyable read. It was easy to get through because there obviously wasn't that many glaring issues with it that take you out of the story. So it's a recommendation from me.
Okay.
Yeah, I recommend it. Inoffensive, and yeah, like Mikey said, there's nothing horrible about the writing that takes you out of it.
Yeah.
I knew something was up, and I wasn't, looking through the eyes of a human being, but
you still want to keep reading.
Enjoyed the trip, so, not a hindrance for me anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I think this would go the whole year and stay pretty goddamn close to the top of past of the year.
Well, since it gets 3 recommendations from El Dente, so I actually did look up. I checked out see if Cdaley had any other pastas. I'm not sure if it's a he or she. They have written a couple of ones, and this was actually, it looks like it was their first story. So. And like they're not continuity. They're not like continuity-wise. They're not like the same story. Like they're not like.
It's not a series.
No, it's not a series. They're all separate. They're all separate stories. Yeah, they're all separate stories that the person wrote. So we'll check some out. I'll probably throw some in from time to time during the year, and we'll see how they progress. Like I'll start from the bottom and go up. So wow.
So you want one author to sweep the entire thing?
Yeah, we'll see. Keep the other guys on their toes. But yeah, wow. So, nothing else to say, really? All right.
No. Honestly, read it for yourself.
Yeah.
It's
and let your imagination go with what you think the thing is at the end.
Because it's just.
Yeah, actually, like as soon as I heard like, and the one in the front had a long black object, it's like, yeah, it's a gun. This is a SWAT team. But Although I will say, it didn't dawn on me that the figure walking back and forth in almost a robotic fashion was fucking soldiers until after the revelation was. I was like, oh, okay, I can see that.
I thought it was just
I thought it was just cops.
No, I thought it was like people like the army. Like I just thought it was some army men like doing runs or rounds.
I thought it was just cop cars, obviously blocking it off, and then people walking
to and from.
Well, no, they described them like them walking in back and forth in a almost robotic fashion, as if like. So I kind of just them like army men marching, but.
Yes, but it also could be
I suppose,
to and from things on their daily business.
I suppose, but I don't know. For me, that's what that is. So in my headcanon, that's going to be this.
My headcanon fires actual heads.
All right. And with that, so yeah, that has been this week's episode. If you like what you heard, if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below, wherever this gets posted, whether it be on Kiwi6, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr. Did I say Kiwi6? Yes. You can leave us a review or rating on iTunes. That would be awesome. And you can check us out all at on Twitter at E stands for Evil, Dr. Leviathan, and Review Cultist. And you can leave us an email at aldentebrigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com, where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas you'd like us to discuss on the show. So, also, you can check out all the title cards for each episode at crazonstudios.tumblr.com. And if you would like, you can support us by going to Patreon and looking up Al Dente Rigamortis, and just select the tier that you'd like to support us at. So, until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm still Dr. Leviathan.
And I'm Mikey. The E stands for Evil.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.
Random ding at the end. Nobody will understand it.
What was that about?
I don't know.
Ooh. Anyway.
Confused.
Yeah. You should be.
Is this a joke I'm a part of?
No.
Okay, good.
Editing.
Does whatever editing does.
This
is all going. This is all going.
Plan this shit.
This is all going in the bottom or the back.
Fooled you.
Fooled you. Fooled you. Fooled you.